What's going on, Cowboys Culture? Welcome back to another episode of Cowboys Culture Podcast, where we are correcting the narrative one episode at a time. We are going to go into our usual sponsor for the week, and then we're going to get right into it. Steven.
Yeah, so 360 Roofing and Restoration. Give them a shout for all your roofing needs in the DFW Metroplex. Here we are. We're recording this actually the Tuesday after the Bills game, if you want to call it a game. So the Monday, we normally record on Mondays around here, but we had to wait on this Monday because the hated Eagles played on Monday Night Football. So we wanted to make sure we got that in the storyline. So here we are on Tuesday after the Bills game. That Monday night game, as you probably all know, did not go very swimmingly for the Eagles. So,
right.
So just jumping right in, guys. Merry Christmas to the culture. I think this is going to be our last episode before Christmas. So Merry Christmas, guys. We've had a fun first year, and we look forward to getting into the playoff picture here. But Jacob, why don't you give us some recent Cowboys news?
Yeah, so a couple things going on this week. First off, one of the ones that is most important is that we're learning that Zach Martin is most likely going to be okay. There was a kind of an injury scare there with kind of towards the I think it was in the first half of that game, of the Bills game. But it looked pretty bad when you were watching on the TV. But looks like he's going to be okay. It looks like it's just a little quad injury, and he should be good to go either this week or next week. So that is really great news for our O-line. That dude is the best player on our team.
Yeah.
So, Mike has given him room for his money, but Martin's been doing it for a while. So that's great news. Number two, good news after what Steve was talking about on Monday Night Football, Cowboys are still number one in the division. So that's good news, obviously. And then lastly, we learned again that we learned on Monday night that the Eagles are bigger frauds than we thought. And so with that, that's pretty much all of our recent news. And
the Eagles, you can get bloodbath by the Niners. Okay. You can go to Dallas where they blow everybody. We blow everybody out at home. The Eagles are no exception. But like this podcast has been saying all year long, the luckiest team in the NFL, who find themselves sitting at 10-4 today, you go and take one against Drew Lock. We got problems.
That's the problem right there.
Yeah, no, I just to address that really quick. We understand Cowboys lost a bad one to the Bills, and obviously we're going to talk a little bit about that here in a second. Not too much, hopefully.
We ain't running from it.
But what I wanted to, I'm running from it. I don't want to talk about it. You know how like before every game you can kind of say, well, we'll play the Dolphins next week because when was the last time Mike McCarthy lost 2 in a row? Can't say that about the Eagles anymore. That's 3 straight.
Yeah.
You can't say, well, we got Jalen Hurts, and that's a backup quarterback. Can't say that anymore. You got beat. You got beat by Drew Lock. Geno Smith, it was almost kind of taunting. Geno Smith was on the sideline with the pads on and everything, and you still got beat.
Yeah.
Bradbury is garbage. Straight up cheeks, just butt cheeks, terrible. Golly, you get head topped by freaking DK. It's like, okay, DK Metcalf, big guy, head topped.
No sign language.
Drew Lock put it on your forehead, and then he did it again. Well, he didn't put it on your forehead, but Jackson Smith-Njigba is not even known for being fast, and he burnt you down the sideline to lose the game. Oh, that was so bad. Well, actually, no, Jalen.
You wouldn't have lost the game if
Jalen lost the game for the team.
your quarterback could.
Yeah.
Jalen's terrible.
Is Jalen still the front runner for the MVP?
No. Jalen's absolutely the worst player I've ever seen play quarterback.
Yeah. He's not that good. And you're right about Bradbury. People in New York knew that, and they were like, "Yeah, you can just go to our biggest rival.
Yeah.
We'll see you twice a year.
Hilarious.
No problem." He was absolutely
such a joke.
He was absolutely crap against Dallas, and then last night it's just like, what are you doing in this league, bud?
Yeah, you need to go to the XFL, buddy.
It's just so anyway, as much as Ethan doesn't want to talk about it, as much as Cowboy Nation doesn't want to talk about it, we did go up to Buffalo. We took an absolute shellacking. We got beat by 21 points. Of course, CD's touchdown was absolute garbage. There's a lot of takes from that game, and you guys spill your guts if you need to. It was a rough start for us. I feel like two things: weird flags in the beginning, okay, that kind of set the game up for where it was headed, and then and I don't think you can't not say this, came out flat.
Yeah,
came out flat.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So, but there were times early in the first quarter where you're like, all right, we're going to sling punches, and we just kind of every time we did throw a punch, you get a penalty, which is kind of what we've experienced on the road. No excuses. We have not beat a really good team on the road yet. So if that's a narrative that the national media wants to run with, that's fine. We crush narratives week in and week out.
We're gonna do it on Sunday.
As Cowboys, as the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys fans, every narrative that's put up in front of us, every goalpost that's moved, we continue to kick through it. So my overall take is, hey, it's the NFL. We went to Buffalo where it's a playoff atmosphere all the time. It was cold and it was raining, and we got our butt stomped. So you just kind of move on from that. We're going to go out to Miami where we have a little bit better climate, and you do not have a playoff atmosphere. They're lucky to get 3/4 of that thing filled every Sunday. They're obviously a good team. Respect the Dolphins. Obviously respect Tyreek. Tua is fine. Mike McDaniels wears tags on his shoes. So, and pulls his joggers up.
God, that is the ugliest thing I've ever seen. Is the jogger pull up thing?
Yeah, that's rough when it comes to swag. I mean, but do your thing. It's Miami. You ain't on that level. So
yeah, I guess.
But got the Rolex.
And the
but anyway,
bands.
Yeah, my overall take on Buffalo is we got the crap beat out of us in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Even a man that it took everything out of OE over here to say that we weren't gonna go just 17-0. The one game he said, yeah, we might cough up. It was Buffalo.
Yeah.
And that's a game that anybody can lose. You go to Buffalo and Josh Allen's feeling it, and they're running the ball like they were. In that environment, in a Buffalo environment where it's cold and rainy, dude, I don't care who you are. You get whooped. So, It's December. They're fired up. They needed that way more than we did.
Yeah.
We got Ferguson and Dak Prescott out there pop-locking before the game, while Josh Allen's over there just just hyper-focused, knowing he needs this game. And he leaned on the running game, and we're weak in the running game defensively. And, it got a hold of us, but because of the events of last night on Monday Night Football and the Eagles losing again, we're right back where we were before Buffalo. So I'll just hand it over to you, Ethan. Tell us your Buffalo takeaways.
I mean, no excuses. Obviously, we didn't have. You look at that game, and you say, what was the biggest thing that we saw, which was our run defense was really bad, and that they just ran all over us. And you're like, okay, well, you're missing Jonathan Hankins in the middle.
Oh, sure. You don't have any linebackers.
And you're saying, linebackers aren't big enough to cause any trouble, for running backs because they can't shed blocks against like O-linemen and stuff. Well, you really wouldn't have to deal with that because Hankins kind of takes up two people. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's that's kind of a big deal. And I'm really not like to me, the bigger issue that I saw with that game was the offense. You can tell that. I mean, we know that they were down three key players on their defense. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Matt Milano, Jordan Poyer, I think, right? Yeah. Right?
But
Jordan Poyer, and then then obviously they didn't have Tre'Davious White that they've been out. But it's just like they schemed us so well. They scheme, their defensive scheme against our offense was just unbelievable. And I don't think that this is one of those games where I'll say the biggest takeaway is I don't think this is one of those games where you saw us get beat by the Niners, you saw us get beat by Josh Dobbs, you saw us get beat by the Eagles. We actually should have won that Eagles game, but those other two games that I'm talking about, we didn't have it together. Against the Cardinals, we couldn't do anything. I feel like this one was just like we came out flat, and they just had McDermott or whatever had like the best. That's who it is, right? Yeah, that's right. McDermott had like the best defensive play calling game of his career. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, we have to be better. I mean, we just our offense just has to play better in those situations when our defense is just getting torched.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
But we've seen it before. You know, we played the Eagles, or I'm sorry, we played the Seahawks, the better birds, and it was a high-scoring game. Our defense was just letting them go up and down the field, and Dak put it on his back. We've seen Dak do that. We just didn't see him do it on. I wanted to see a good game where it was Dak versus Josh type thing, even though it's never is. But we just didn't see that, and that was kind of upsetting. So I would just say, you know, we have to use this as a San Francisco 49ers game, where after that game we're on it. All right, bet, cool, let's go run it. But that was a bad game, man. Just a bad game. I don't want to overreact and be like, oh, Dak is not the MVP, because he is. The Cowboys can't stop the run, because we have. Against good O-lines like the Eagles or whoever you might want to bring up, like we did a good job against the Seahawks in that area. So
when those pieces are missing, that you know, like Big Hank, we have no depth at linebacker. I mean, that's obviously what you do against a team like that that's beat down, and run it at a rookie all
to
night
address
long.
the narrative really quick. Stop talking about Micah Parsons like he's freaking Chase Young or something. Like, Micah Parsons is the best defensive player in the league. He can rush the pass. He's so athletic. He can rush the passer like just like the top tier pass rushers. And if you want to say all you have to do is run the ball at him, maybe people are doing that like to throw something new in the mix. But Micah Parsons is the kind of player that can say, okay, you think you can just run the ball at me, and he's going to shut that down. But we'll see that coming up. But for Cowboys fans to be like, oh, Mike, well, all you have to do with Micah is put him at linebacker, put him at edge rusher. Like, no, just let the genius of Dan Quinn do his job. This is just a bad game. We got outmatched. We got out-schemed. That was it. That's it. I don't even think the Bills are a better team than the Cowboys.
And I'm not going to get too deep into it, but we were out-coached also.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't, I still have my my issues with our coach, but anyway, I won't dig too deep into that. And it's just a butt kick, and it didn't really matter who was standing
and to
over.
that point, Micah, on his awesome, for some reason, podcast that he has, he kind of addressed that whole coaching thing. He didn't really talk about the coaches, but he said, Josh Allen has been averaging like 30+ attempts a game. Who would have thought that they would have just said, "Hey, this dude's going to throw actually half that amount," and we're just going to put it in James Cook hands, who really hasn't played great this year. I mean, nobody could have seen that coming, especially a game. But it does make sense considering obviously we're light at linebacker and we don't have Hank. But anyways, yeah, it was upsetting to watch for sure.
Yeah, Jake, quick takeaways from Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think that game came down to the fact that, Buffalo played desperate, and we didn't. Buffalo played like it was win or go home,
which it essentially
which it kind of was for them, and we didn't. And honestly, they're in a way worse situation, and so I get that. I get the bigger sense of urgency that they had, or the greater sense of urgency, but I was disappointed that we didn't have that because we know, obviously, the situation we're in with the division seeding and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So I wish we would have had more sense of urgency, and I would have liked to see us not come out flat like we did. But the bottom line is, like I said, they came out ready. We came out looking like we weren't ready whatsoever. I think, anytime I think that, what do we had? And I think in that game we're out Diggs, we're out Van Der Esch, we were out without Hankins, Hooker was out, Donovan Wilson was out for a period of time. So you're talking about a defense that's lost almost half of its starters, right? And so I think it's ridiculous to think that that's not going to make an impact. You look over the past couple of weeks, and yeah, we had a good game versus the Eagles, but our defense, we've started to see these injuries kind of.
The Eagles are really just not that good.
Yeah, but the Eagles aren't that great, and so but it's like we've seen in 2 of the last 3 weeks, we've seen against decent offenses because we've played the Seahawks, now the Bills, and then we played the Eagles in the middle. We've seen people be able to. We're not seeing the same defense we saw at the beginning of the season when most people were healthy, where it was just like there's no shot, right?
Yeah.
We're starting to see the defense. In my opinion, I think this game is showing us that the defense is kind of struggling with the injuries. It is catching up to them like it would with anybody. We're doing the best with what we can, but we're going to have to rely more on our offense to put us in a position where they can't just run the ball 100 times like they did versus in the Bills game. When you look at the Seahawks, they can't have Kenneth Walker up there just running it down our throats because we're scoring on every drive. Mm-hmm. We're not even punting. We don't punt the whole game.
I totally agree.
So in my opinion, this game is on the offense. The offense came out flat. Whether it was whatever they were doing on defense, coaching wise and scheme wise, and confusing the coverages, or whether it was Dak just having an off game and we
played into their hand.
Yeah, or he was feeling himself after the Eagles game, and so he just kind of took a week off from prep. I don't know what happened, but bottom line is the offense was off in really every way. We couldn't do anything. The O-line was bad. Our receivers, everything was bad, and but Dak particularly didn't look like he was on his normal. He didn't look like he was playing his normal game, right?
I'll tell you something about the O-line being bad. Anytime, and we've seen it over and over in Dallas, is like anytime Zach Martin leaves the game, anytime Tyron Smith leaves the game,
it changes things. Yeah,
you're in for it. Yeah.
Well, and that's what I was going to say, because when it comes to this game, yes, I know when you look at that score, it looks really bad. I get it, but I think a lot of these things. Well, first off, when you talk about the overall score, if Mike McCarthy throws that challenge flag, and if Sam Williams doesn't rough the kicker,
yeah, different game.
This game is completely different,
even
right?
The Zach Martin penalty, if he doesn't retaliate on the hit on Dak.
Oh yeah, there are so many different things that happened in that game.
Early on, yeah.
Losing Zach Martin in at the beginning of the game, that's going to shake up your offensive game plan. Going into a game without that many starters on defense is going to impact the game, right? And so I think if we would have had just a little bit better luck on the even that big questionable penalty on Curse, that goes from a punt to that drive into being a touchdown because they call a pass interference on that, right? Or a personal foul.
Yeah,
so
unnecessary roughness.
Yeah, unnecessary roughness.
That was crap. All right, that call was ticky tacky, but man, Curse, my man. There was a time where I thought he was really, really good. I'm not real sure. He has his moments. He has
moments. I don't know. I mean, I'd have to really look into that to know. I mean, it definitely doesn't seem like it's been the same as last season. But I mean, I'm not an expert on that. On
safety play.
Yeah, safety play. But I'm just saying,
especially
overall,
the type of safety he plays.
Yeah, it's
he has to be
position.
He has to be a pseudo linebacker. He has to be a safety. He has to cover deep. He has to cover over the top.
But overall, it's
got a lot of responsibility.
In that game, my takeaway is if our offense would have not come out flat, like we very rarely have done this year. I mean, I think there's only one other game, maybe two, that we've come out like this since Mike McCarthy's been taking over the play calling. I think that would help us disguise our defensive issues, which were mostly just tackling issues and the run game in general this week. But let's be honest, tackling problems can be fixed. Hankins is going to come back. So a lot of these issues that we saw in our defense are going to be fine. But what we do need to see, and what I want to see, is our offense when it comes to when we're playing against a good coach with a good scheme. Our offense we cannot have these types of games where we just start out bad and we just continue. You look at a team like the 49ers, that's the difference maker, I think, between a team like us and a team like them is when they come out and they look flat at the beginning, go back and watch the Eagles game when they played the Eagles. They came out the first couple of drives and it was just like, what is this offense? Next thing you know, they put up like 40, right? Yeah. I want to see our offense
down like 13-0 or something. At the beginning.
I think our offense is going to have to learn. I'm thinking this might be good for us. Yeah, it sucks right now, but it might be good that our offense took that kind of an embarrassment against a good team
again.
Yeah, and maybe we can respond like we did after the 49ers game and go on a good run. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, overall, I think it was a really rough one. It was a bad look for the team, but it could end up being something that helps us, like we did earlier in the season, go back to the drawing board on some things and get some things figured out.
Yeah, for sure. Now, one thing about the 49ers loss is we went on a pretty good little home skid after that, right? So, that brings us right into a little game we like to play around here, and that's what's the narrative, what's the truth, and what are our takeaways. We just said what our takeaways were from Buffalo. But, and I think I'll just answer these questions for us real quick. I think the narrative going in was we're going to find out if Dallas can beat a decent team on the road. And we failed that test.
We contributed to that narrative.
Yeah.
So.
we failed that test. So I'm not going to get mad at the Stephen A's that are out there saying, oh, look at Dallas against, teams of substance on the road. All right. I mean, it just has been what it has been. We don't really get to have an opinion on it at this point. It just is what it is. But the narrative now I feel like, and I'll let you guys comment on this, we're now being told, getting ready to lose in Miami. These guys can't win on the road. They're a different team on the road. They don't have what it takes. And Ethan, I'll start with you, and I know that you have an issue with, hey, there's not like a science to us on the road. But I have a little pushback on it, and it's we constantly blow people out at home. Our home field advantage is pretty extreme, especially in years like this when we're on pace to another, most likely 11, 12 win season, big time season around DFW. So I think the road thing against those teams of substance, I think it's a real thing. I don't know if it's a mental thing. I don't know if it's a travel thing. I don't know if it's, getting in these types of environments like Buffalo can create week after week with their fans. You think we're a home field advantage? Those people can create a home field advantage. That mafia can create a home field advantage for you.
Yeah.
So
I just think it's kind of silly to say that. To me, like, it makes good
to say what?
To just be like, oh, because the fact that the Cowboys lost to the Niners and the Bills away means that they can't win road games. And I mean,
now that's not that we can't win road games.
I'm saying I get what you're saying. Yeah. I'm just saying that just seems like a very very media trying to get clicks thing to say. Because there's nothing if for me looking at the game and looking at each team and saying, okay, let's talk about these teams and where their strengths are. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess Duran doesn't play as good as he does on the road against a team that's good, but he plays good against a team that's good at home. I don't to me. It's kind of silly. I like to keep it at is the narrative that we can't. The Cowboys can't beat teams of substance on the road. The truth is, we can. We just haven't done it yet. We can, and we're going to on Sunday. We just haven't done it yet. It's been 2 teams of substance that we've lost away.
But I think you would agree that narrative gets shut down after it happens, right? You can't just tell everyone.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying the truth, what I believe to be the truth is that we just, unfortunately, the 2 games that we've played against, because the Eagles aren't a good team of substance and we should have won that game, so I don't count that.
Sure.
But the 2 games that we did lose, and then obviously there was the debacle at Arizona, which again they're not a good team.
Sure.
But the good teams of substance that we've lost to away, I'm saying that just because that has happened doesn't just mean, oh, well, the Cowboys are going to lose against the Dolphins because they can't beat good teams on the road. That's not that's not the truth.
Mm-hmm.
The truth is we're going to see on Sunday because the Cowboys are a good team, and they're hearing you guys talk about this. And think about the last times what happened to the last teams that they said that you couldn't beat. The Cowboys are bounce back teams, and when we get punched in the mouth like we did in San Francisco away on the road, we come back even stronger. So I feel bad for the Lions, because Jimmy Johnson's going into the Ring of Honor, and that's at home. You're going to get beat down.
It's going to fire us old heads up, right?
And I feel because Micah Parsons was already talking that smack to Tyreek even before the season started about the Grinch coming to town in Miami, and he said there's only one Grinch. So I feel a little bit bad for Tua, even though they just lost Connor Williams, who was like the centerpiece of their somehow become a good offensive lineman once we got rid of him. But
one thing I've never felt bad about is Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah, no, I mean, poor guy. I mean, he's just going to get lit up. And now they're trying to say, well, they did bad against James Cook. What about Raheem Mostert and Achane or whatever his name is? It's like, all right, well, again, one bad rush, like they're taking last year's rushing defense and this year's rush, or this one game against Buffalo, like the Cowboys can't stop the run defense. No, we've done it all year. We'll be fine, and we'll see. It's not the truth, but we'll see, and hopefully we can silence those weird narratives that they always create about the Cowboys, so they can have something to talk about all day.
Yeah. So you're saying, and I have I'm along a lot of the same lines as you. What you just said, like, don't take the losses on the road as that's exactly who we are. That's our identity. Win at home, lose on the road. You get to say, the Cowboy hater gets to say for now, hey, look, man, you get blown out on the road twice, okay, you lose to Philly in a game you should have won. That's even more demoralizing to me in a way than – and it take Philly off the table, take the divisional rival and who you're chasing off the table. It's more demoralizing to me that you couldn't get that first down there at the end of the game. That in a game where you're clearly outplaying somebody, yet and it's so true. We found a way to lose that game. Yeah. We found a way to lose on the road, right? We something wasn't there mentally. We weren't there at the end of the game, and I think mental for good teams, and the Cowboys are a good team. I think that plays a huge part. Now, I'm not somebody who's played in the NFL. I don't know, for sure, but I have my assumptions that, when you're tired like that, and it's at the end, and it's a crucial moment, and you've got everybody telling you suck, I think there is a mental breakdown that happens there, and only the strong survive situations like that, and we just haven't found a way to do it yet. Now, I also do think, that I also think we're about to show you. I think.
If being not in Dallas, as people who probably more than 50% of our team aren't even from Dallas and probably never went to the AT&T Stadium before playing for the Dallas Cowboys, if traveling to another state to play another NFL team makes you go from top-tier NFL player to middle of the line to getting spanked NFL player, then there's nothing we can do about that. That's a soft excuse.
I don't think it's a situation about the guys being from here originally. Like I don't think.
But I'm saying that if as a player, because what you can talk about, we can talk about coaching all day long. But it's the players that go out there, lace them up, and go down to down. I mean, if you're telling me that
the human aspect of someone cheering for you, and then someone, cussing your mother, that you can hear, that I don't care who you are, I don't care what.
Let me say this.
Absolutely,
it is.
Absolutely.
A lot of these players have played at least Division II football.
I 100% agree that hey, be mentally tougher than that, and whatever the cause is, whatever the science is behind it, for whatever reason it's happened, and if what you're saying is just like it just happens to be where we're at when we lost, if that's the case, we just need to correct that narrative Sunday.
Well, but see, here's my thing. I would agree with that, but the problem is, what are we, 7-0? We have like the longest home winning streak in the NFL.
It's like 15-0.
Yeah, we're 7-0 this season, I think, at home, and we have a losing record away. Right, there is a significant, as much as it seems like it's just a coincidence. There is a significant difference between us and how we play, points per game, points allowed, all these things, when we're at home and when we're not at home, right? We're the team blowing everybody out when we're at home, and when we're not, we're getting blown out most of the time when we're away, right? I think, and I've said it all year, I think it comes down to we are a heavy momentum team, okay? When momentum's on our side, we play really good. When it's not, we really struggle, and it is, I think what it is, in my opinion, is...
And do you think that crowd energy can create
Well,
momentum?
that's what I was going to say. I think that
I
momentum...
just think it's dumb that it does, but sure, yeah.
It is. I think it comes down to it's a lot harder to create momentum when you're not at home with your fans and your situation you feel comfortable with. And so I think it's just that's what it is. I think when we're over at different stadiums, we don't get that, we don't have the same energy and momentum that I think it contributes to just a downhill spiral, as opposed to when we do have it, it contributes to we just pile it on them, right? And so I think that, we saw that in this Buffalo game, and this Miami game, and we're about to talk about that, this Miami game, I'm excited for it, because this is another chance to prove this narrative wrong, and it's our last chance of the season to do it. So in my opinion, like, this is going to be a huge deal for our team, because I was telling you guys before, it's one thing if you go out there and you lay an egg in one game like we did to the 49ers, or like the Eagles did to the 49ers before they played us. It's one thing to go out and just get, we just had a bad one, right? But it's another thing if you go out the next game and you do it again, and then you go out and you do it again. And so right here, we had a bad game versus the Bills. But if we have an opportunity right here to come right back out against the Miami Dolphins, who are at the top of the AFC, on the road with a good coach that everybody talks about all the time, and high-quality playmakers, and win a road game against a quality team and just completely change that narrative, right? But if we don't, then that's when I think it's time to start saying, we better hope we get that 1 seed, because if we got to play on the road, that 2 seed, or just win the division, because if we got to play on the road, I don't know. So this game is big. We're going to see.
Yeah, for sure. So, talking about that next opportunity, right? That next opportunity is in Miami Gardens, out at what will always be Joe Robbie Stadium to me. But what is it? Is it Hard Rock? Is it Hard Rock Cafe?
Hard Rock.
Yeah, y'all don't know nothing about no Joe Robbie, but it's before they had the roof. But anyway,
Was it a dome now?
No, it's just got like this covering that they built. Same place that them and the Miami Hurricanes have always played.
Interesting.
Yeah. But it's gotten a bunch of facelifts, and Miami being such a destination. Once they did that, I think Miami's had like 2-3 Super Bowls since they put that roof type structure on it. Very similar to what LA did. It's not a dome, but it's got like this thing on top of it. Yeah, but the Miami one's cut out, so it still has the open air feel. But anyway, they just beautified it. But anyway, so looking ahead to Miami, I mean, what do we hope to see, and what does this game mean to us? And if you want to give a prediction, you can. For me, obviously, I hope to see a win. Two, I just want to see our offense start clicking again. Yeah. I want to see, and I don't care. I don't mind if we come out, because look, the Dolphins are going to come out wanting to sling it all over the place, get Tyreek involved. Yeah, he's not 100% right now, but
Waddle and
but yeah, for sure. Yeah,
the emphasis needs to be on. I know that when you play the Dolphins, you want to think, oh, the Tyreek and Waddle, you got to focus on them.
Tua's big arm.
Yeah. Oh, well, whatever. But what I think, especially after that loss, is play fundamental defense.
Yeah, that's what I
Stop the
well.
run. Tackle well. Stop the run.
Yeah.
And worry about those big plays when you feel like they're coming out.
Yeah, I think, and that's what I was about to say. Like, as far offensively, I just want us to start clicking again. I don't care if Miami's getting carried away with their deep balls and they're dumping it all 5 yards to Tyreek and letting him go for 20. Don't get carried away with chasing that game so much. It's just start clicking again on offense.
Yeah.
Start hitting Lamb again and those slants. Start, get Tony really involved.
I'm very excited about the whole
dude, and I'll tell you,
Ramsey versus CD thing, because
for
I
sure.
want to see CD go ham.
This dude, he can't play like that.
Yeah.
Ramsey's used to go and most number ones don't play like CD Lamb does. Most number ones, you don't have to worry about them catching the slot. You don't have to worry about them. It's a post 90% of the day.
Yeah.
So it's a foot race. Yeah. So anyway, just would like to see the offense clicking. Tony Pollard, God bless him, he's back.
Yeah.
He hasn't been able to be showcased obviously in Buffalo and everything, but when he got the ball, he took off. I guess it's just he needed this much time to get back to being Tony Pollard. Shout out Tony Pollard. I've talked mess about Tony Pollard this year. Sorry, he's back.
Just needed a little time,
and as long as we can keep him upright, I think he's going to
pay him
continue.
a little less, keep him upright.
That's right. But in all likelihood, it's his last year in Dallas. So, man, he's showing out. Maybe we'll get a little contract. Yeah, maybe we'll get a contract. Who knows? But So and then of course defensively, like you said, fundamental, man. First man makes a tackle. We don't have to rely on a weak.
Gosh, the amount of broken tackles I saw on Sunday
it's
just
terrible.
Crazy.
The run defense was absolutely atrocious. So if we could correct that, man, we
Big
have
Hank might be back.
That would be that is so neat. That's probably the most needed thing in Cowboy land right now is for him to return. And just having a healthy offensive line, having a healthy.
What was his injury again?
Ankle sprain.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So it'll be 3 weeks out. There's a shot or 2, I guess.
So that's me. I mean, I won't give a score prediction this week. I mean, I think it really could go either way. I think this could be a very heavily offensive game if our offense kind of gets back to its usual way. I think we could even see a Seattle-like game out of this game.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'll just let you go, E.
I agree. I mean, I think that our defense has to I think if we focus on the run, because if you watch their games against teams, Mostert plays really well, and it's whenever people are emphasizing too much on that Tyreek, not Tua, Tyreek, experience that, and then obviously you've got Waddle to go off if he can stay healthy for the entirety of the game. But it's Mostert that, because I have him on one of my fantasy teams, he goes off. I mean, he has huge games, 2 touchdown games. We can't let that happen, especially not after what James Cook did this past week.
Yeah,
made him look like Emmitt Smith.
But I'll be very confident because I know if Tyreek plays and if he's good to go, and if it's the Tyreek that we've seen in the past, he's going to be good. He's going to get his. That's just the fact of the matter.
Yeah.
You can't shut down Tyreek right now because nobody's really done it this season. So I think that if you just you try and stop him, obviously, but if you let him do what he needs to do and what he's going to do, but slow down everything else, we'll win easy.
Mm-hmm.
Easy.
Yeah. Jacob?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to just see our offense come out and show us that Bills game was an anomaly, right?
I need to see like 3 touchdowns from Dak, man. We're
not exposed, or there's not a blueprint. Go out there and show that, we just took this Bills defense that was beat up for granted, and we're right back on schedule like we've done in the past this season. If we see that, and then I think,
like Mike McCarthy has made a career of, he doesn't lose 2 in a row.
And let's be honest, I think that the Bills, I think they came out and they was like, yeah, you know what, we're just going to run the ball. That's just what we're going to do, right?
Yeah.
I don't see the Miami Dolphins being that committed to just running the ball. Like,
but I'm saying that we can't think that way because they could. Because the Bills aren't that team either.
Yeah,
and the Dolphins actually can do that.
That's true,
because I've seen them and I know they can do that.
So based off the most recent tape that we've sent the Dolphins, I mean, they who knows? Maybe
exactly.
Maybe they.
So I'm saying even if they do or don't try that, if we can shut down the whole run game, and because no matter if the run game is good, bad, or mediocre, Tyreek's going to get his, and Waddle's going to get his.
But I will say
I don't see a situation where you're like, yeah, hey, look, take Waddle, take Tyreek off the table. These guys showed us they can't stop the run. Let's just run this through. That's not how Mike McDaniel coaches. He coaches fast.
That's what I was going to say.
No, right, but that's what I'm saying is like I said, Tyreek and those receivers, slow them down as much as you can when you know they're trying to go for those passes. But they always get theirs. They're gonna get theirs.
Sure. Yeah.
Slow down everything else, and we'll win.
Well, and I was going to say, my point was, I don't see them doing the same thing that the Bills did, because I'm not saying they might not try to they're not going to try to run the ball, but I'm saying the Bills are a lot more of they got a big, strong O-line, and they have some of those running backs that are more those just like bell cow, ground and pound type guys, whereas the Miami Dolphins are more of a speed team. You look at our team, what do we not have? Big time physical dudes on our in our linebackers and our safety room, right? We're kind of light and fast right now, and that's what the Miami Dolphins are. All their players are just like 4'3" dudes, pretty much, right? And so I'm just saying, I think that as long as we tackle well and we stay on our toes, get ready for the run, I think that this has. I don't think that I could be wrong, but I don't think that the Miami Dolphins will be able to do what the Bills did to us in terms of running the ball, just because of the way they're built and the way we're built, because we are more of a speed, get to the ball quickly team. Yeah. If you're a big 230-pound running back, you might be able to run us over, but we'll get there to you, right? Which is what we saw in the Bills game. I mean, we just could not bring the dude down. But I think that if like I was saying, if we tackle well and we play good fundamental football, I think we should have a good chance against them because of the way our defense is built.
Who's going to cover Tyreek?
I would say it's going to be Bland because of the speed factor, I think.
See, I was thinking maybe Gilly only because even if he got chewed up, which he of course would. I mean, Bland would get chewed up. But even if he got chewed up, I think he's more mentally prepared to erase that and line up again. As to where Bland's trying to make a statement in this league at this point in his life, he's trying to show the world. I think he's trying to show the world I'm Diggs 2.0. I'm Diggs B-. And
I just don't think Gilmore had the speed. I think he'll get.
I can agree with that, but I think Duron could probably get chewed apart too. But regardless, neither one of them have a great shot. But I just thought maybe mentally in a game that's kind of has that, even though it's not, as far as playoff implications, it has that must win to it because of what we talked about earlier. So I think Gilmore's somebody that can say, kind of like you said earlier, yeah, all right, bet, line back up. That's out of my mind. Let's on to the next one.
Yeah.
Veteran guy probably has seen enough Tyreek in his life to at least have the first step down. So anyway, whatever happens, Al Harris and Mike McCarthy, they know more than I do, so whatever. What does let's just take a quick look before we shut down shop at the current playoff picture as we sit right now in the 2-seed position. Percentage-wise, the Eagles have a better chance of winning the division because of their opponents moving forward and because of ours. We have a little bit tougher slide than they do. Let's just work off the narrative, okay, that we are going to finish in the 5 seed just because maybe we finish out the season tied up. We both win out the final games, or we drop a game and they win it out. Regardless, let's work off of what the percentages say right now, which I think we only have I think it's less than a 40% chance to win the division. however those metrics are made, we don't really care. But should we finish as the 5 seed, as of today, we would probably play the Buccaneers out in Tampa.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
which isn't bad.
here we go on the road again, right? And Willie Nelson. So we're on the road again out in Tampa. We've done that before, haven't we? So I think Tom Brady was the guy on the other side of that game. Absolutely obliterated them. I think you would see the same, rinse and repeat.
It would be
from
worse.
that. Yeah, because they couldn't. Yeah, they're not going to be able to score.
Yeah.
They're
It's bad.
yeah. So Baker, I'll tell you something about Baker, man. He's playing a little bit better.
Yeah.
They're going to have to sign him. What else? Unless they can. Now that you're about to mess around and make the playoffs and everything, you're not going to get you're not going to get a chance at anybody of substance. So you're going to have to sign Baker Mayfield. So Baker may be there to stay for a little while. But I do believe that we would obliterate them. I think we're all in agreement with that. I think America probably is outside of Stephen A. Smith and Richard Sherman. But so then you take kind of a look at it. Your next game would most likely be out in Santa Clara.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Unless, of course, the Lions lose to whoever they're playing. If the Lions lose to whoever they're playing, then the Niners would play whoever beat. I think it would probably be the Vikings or something.
Which the Josh Dobb Vikings have beat the Niners.
It could
They
happen.
would play the Niners, and we would play the Eagles or something in the Lincoln Financial.
Yeah,
but it can happen. But it's unlikely, and that's why it's really important for us that we can somehow walk away. With this
and the good news is that we haven't lost back-to-back games, which hopefully we can hold on to that.
Yep.
Then we've got a home. They want to say the Lions are hard, but we're playing them at home, and so we know what that looks like. We saw it last year, and it's probably going to be worse this year. And then we've got the game that people just assumed that we were going to lose because we did it last year against the Commanders away, but we saw what happened a couple weeks ago, and that was just terrible on Thanksgiving. And you can't just tell me that the Eagles are just going to win. Can't tell me that.
Yeah,
you just straight up can't tell me that.
Any of the shady McCoys out there that are still saying, hey,
what are we talking about? The Eagles are just better.
Yeah.
Then who?
Yeah.
Then whom?
Then the Seahawks.
Then Drew Lock.
Then
Drew Lock.
Then Dallas or San Francisco.
Gosh.
Yeah.
So hey Tommy.
Yeah.
That guy, he's coming.
Come get you a piece, man.
He's
Italian
coming.
Stallion,
you got
baby.
him twice, too. So Wink Martindale's going to figure you out, which apparently he was supposed to figure out the Cowboys, and he didn't. But he's going to figure you out and your crappy coordinators, and Tommy's going to get you.
A couple episodes back, Ethan said he hoped that this didn't become a thing. Now he's on a Cowboys podcast doing that to a divisional rival.
I'm doing it because
it is an internet sensation.
It's this right here is gonna win us the division right here.
How about this guy, the hat wearing Italian dude?
I feel like this is just an act or something.
I mean,
it's got to be.
Come on, man. That's who you are.
Yeah.
You wear J's and a suit and hats to your clients' games. But and what's his client list look like anyway? Surely it's only Tommy.
Yeah, it's got to only be Tommy.
I did see that guy was inducted into the, I'm going to try to get this right, Italian American Sports Hall of Fame. That guy did. Not DeVito, obviously. DeVito's 15. But
that has to be his cousin or something, that they were like, hey, say you're my agent. Come out here on the field.
Well,
hey man, so
that dude, the agent guy, he gets inducted into the Italian American Sports Hall of Fame as an NFL agent. That was a strange thing. Even stranger, though, the Italian Sports Hall of Fame is in Chicago for some reason, which I think you have a lot of Polish and Irish heritage there. I could be totally wrong, but you want the Italian Sports Hall of Fame to be in Staten Island, New York. But anyway, I digress.
The most probable is that will be the 5th seed. But man, if you're the Eagles, you're clutching on to every single strand of hope because the Eagles. I'm going to say, because I've been saying that the Seahawks were going to beat the Eagles for weeks now.
You have, yeah.
And I will put my stamp on it. They will lose another game.
All right.
Whether
I mean,
it's to Kyler or Tommy DeVito.
So
Tommy's
they will
going to
lose.
get Tommy's going to get 2 shots at
They
him,
will
and
lose.
Kyler, of course, is their best
So
chance.
then we just have to make sure that we do not choke.
We gotta
in,
win.
in a sense,
We gotta win.
If that's the case, and I agree with you, the Eagles have given us all confidence that they're probably not going to win out. And so, in a sense, because of that, our destiny is in our own hands. We got the Lions, which is a current division leader, and we have the Dolphins that are at the top of the AFC. We have to. This is our time to prove ourselves and not choke.
No,
So, let's see it.
and speaking of choking, we would not choke if we don't win this division. That would not be a choke job. A choke job, if the Eagles don't win this division, that's a
Absolutely.
choke
That's
job.
true.
Absolutely.
So look, Shady McCoy, you don't win this division, and you were 2 and 3 games ahead at one time, and you mess around and lose this division. That's a choke job. So I want to hear about that. If the Eagles lose this division, which they still shouldn't, if they do, that's a choke job. I want to hear about it, Shady.
If the Eagles lose the division, it's time to bring out the scissors for Mr. Squirts.
Because I'm telling you right
Cut 'em.
now, for Squirts and the Crybaby. But if
Oh man, please fire that idiot. You're about to be.
But you know what's going to happen? We drop a game to a decent team, to a Miami, to a Detroit. The Cowboys have choked. They choked. They lost the division that they had in hand. They were in first place, in a tie first place, a technical first place. If the Eagles lose this division, that is a choke job, and I guarantee you we will not hear it.
No, you won't. You're right on that. I'm just saying.
If they do, and I already am, cut Jalen Hurts, put him out on waivers, to get rid of this guy, restructure his contract, don't pay him, commit fraud. I don't care. Get rid of that dude. He's the worst thing to happen to Philadelphia.
keep him. I like him there.
Right, but
yeah, you know what? Yeah, hey, keep him. Keep him.
I'm loving it.
Actually, put the emphasis on Jalen Hurts, pay him more money,
Extend
so
it.
that you've got nobody else to pay.
Yeah, definitely, and keep Weary Tears too. But somebody get that guy a razor. But but seriously though, the defending NFC champions up on the Cowboys. 3 games at one time. 2 games most of the season. The defending NFC champions end up dropping this division. That's one of the greatest choke jobs of all time. So I'd love to hear about that. So let's wrap it up.
Well, hey, listen. We appreciate you guys for sticking it out this long. I know it's a hard week because we did not get the outcome that we had initially hoped for and thought we were going to do. But hey, listen, we love you guys. We thank you for your support. If you have any comments or questions about anything, please hit us up on Instagram or comment under this video. Make sure you're liking this video and subscribing to the YouTube channel. And with that being said, also follow us on Instagram at Cowboys Culture Podcast. We'll see y'all guys next time.
Come at us in them TikTok threads.
TikTok, for sure, TikTok.
Yep.
Later, guys.
We're with it. Peace.